I've always been a private person, extremely private. I work hard, handle my responsibilities, and keep my personal life to myself, especially when it comes to my marriage. But when the woman you love, the woman you trusted, starts mocking you in front of friends about your performance in bed, everything changes. My name's Daniel. I'm 35. Been working as a mechanic in Chicago since I was 18. Now I own my own shop. Nothing fancy, just honest work for loyal customers. I'm not flashy, no gym selfies or social media bragging. I work, come home to my dog, my couch, and until recently, my wife, Rachel. Rachel's 31, works as a dental receptionist. She's outgoing, loud, always the center of attention. At first, it balanced me out. I'm quiet, she's energetic. We met through friends, dated for 2 years, married in 2020. Small backyard wedding. Felt perfect. For a while it was good. Simple life. Work, bills, Friday pizza, occasional trips. But last year, things changed. She started treating me like furniture. I'd come home covered in grease and she'd barely glance up from her phone. No, how was your day? Just a nod toward the fridge. At first, I thought she was stressed. New boss, long hours. I gave her space. Then the sarcasm started. You never try new things. You fall asleep too fast, said with a smirk, but it stung. I felt small, like I wasn't enough, like she compared me to some Instagram fantasy. I brushed it off. Until game night. We hosted friends, Liz, Mark, Sarah, and her new boyfriend, Chris. Rachel was drinking more than usual, laughing too loud. We played a game where you guess who'd give the worst sex advice. Rachel snorted. Definitely Daniel. Sweet guy, but not rocking my world. The room froze. I sat there, beer in hand, ears ringing. She didn't laugh it off, just sipped her drink, smiling. Liz, her best friend, said, "Damn, Rachel, harsh." Rachel shrugged. He knows I'm kidding. But I knew she wasn't. I walked out to the porch, feeling gutted. Liz followed, handed me a beer. She crossed a line. I nodded. She does that for attention. Liz looked at me seriously. For what it's worth, she's wrong. Her tone wasn't flirty. It was sincere. I didn't know how to respond. Later, Rachel never apologized. Just, you know I was joking, right? But I knew she meant it. She leaned in. But are you happy? I didn't answer. She said, I've seen how she treats you. She enjoys putting you down. It hit hard because it was true. Then she said, you're a good man. She's wrong about you. The air left the room. I didn't kiss her, but I left that bar with clarity. At home, Rachel was passed out, wine bottle half empty. I watched her sleep and felt nothing. No love, just resentment. That night, something in me clicked shut. I stopped reacting to Rachel, stopped trying. She panicked, suddenly offering breakfast, fake sweetness, but I was done. I moved half our savings, talked to a lawyer. Rachel spiraled, going out more, coming home late. She wanted a fight, but I gave her silence. Then came Liz's birthday party. Rachel said she wasn't going. I went. Liz smiled when I arrived. We talked, laughed. People noticed. Then Rachel showed up in a tight dress, eyes locked on us. She pulled me outside. What's going on with you two? I said. You really want to talk after what you've said about me? She scoffed. You're flirting to get back at me? I looked her in the eye. You said I was bad in bed. She said I wasn't. You created this. Then I dropped the bomb. I filed for divorce. You'll be served next week. She cried, begged. I walked back inside. Months later, I'm good. Kept the house, fixed up the garage. Liz and I talk, but I'm taking it slow. Rachel texts apologies, says she never meant to hurt me, but I don't reply. I'm done begging to be seen by someone who closed their eyes long ago. The divorce papers hit Rachel like a freight train. She showed up at the shop 2 days after being served, eyes puffy, voice shaking. "You're really doing this?" She clutched the envelope like it was a betrayal. I wiped grease off my hands and said what I'd rehearsed. "It's done," she screamed then. Right there in front of my customers, called me a coward, a liar, accused me of cheating with Liz. I let her rage. When she ran out of steam, I handed her a water bottle and said, "The lawyer's number is on page 3. The next month was a blur of legal jargon and awkward silences. Rachel fought dirty, suddenly claiming the house was ours, despite her name never being on the deed, and demanding half my business. But I'd prepared. Receipts, texts, even security footage of her drunken rants. My lawyer called it the cleanest case of irreconcilable differences he'd seen. Meanwhile, Liz kept her distance. She'd text occasionally, "You holding up?" but never pushed. Smart woman. I needed the space to unravel a decade of we and remember who I was. Then came the night Rachel showed up drunk at my doorstep. 2 a.m., mascara rivers, slurring about mistakes and fresh starts. I didn't let her in, just stood in the doorway, Duke growling behind me. "You don't get to rewrite history," I said. "Go home." She spat, "You'll regret this," before stumbling to her car. I called her sister to pick her up, not out of love, basic human decency. The final hearing lasted 12 minutes. Rachel got her car and $15,000 from savings. I kept the house, the shop, my dignity. As we left the courthouse, she hissed, "Enjoy being alone." I smiled. Better alone than disrespected. Liz and I went on our first official date last week. No secrets, no guilt, just sushi and stupid jokes. She kissed me goodnight on her porch. Soft, slow, no rush. Rachel? Heard she moved to Phoenix with some guy she met on Bumble. Sent me a rambling email last month titled Apologies. I deleted it unread. Some doors closed quietly. And that's okay. The first few months after the divorce were strange. The house felt too big without Rachel's clutter. No more makeup scattered across the bathroom counter. No half-empty wine glasses left on the coffee table. Just me, Duke, and the quiet hum of the ceiling fan. I threw myself into work, expanded the shop's detailing service, hired a kid from the neighborhood to help with oil changes. Business boomed. Turns out, when you're not drowning in someone else's drama, you've got a lot of energy to spare. Liz and I took things slow. Real slow. We'd meet for coffee, talk about everything except Rachel. She told me about her teaching job, how she'd always wanted to travel but never had the nerve. I told her about my dad's old Harley rotting in storage, how I'd promised myself I'd restore it one day. "So do it," she said, stirring her latte. "Life's too short for one days." 2 weeks later, I towed the bike to the shop. Rachel wasn't entirely gone, though. She'd text sometimes, usually late at night, usually drunk. "Remember that time we went to the lake?" Or, "Duke ever ask about me?" I never replied, but I didn't block her either. Maybe part of me wanted to see if she'd ever really own up to what she'd done. She didn't. Then, one rainy Tuesday, Liz showed up at the shop with 2 helmets. "I'm sick of waiting for you to ask me out properly," she said, tossing one at me. "Let's ride." The Harley wasn't pretty, but it ran. We took back roads out of the city, Liz's arms tight around my waist, her laughter loud in my ear every time I gunned the engine. We stopped at a dive bar halfway to nowhere, split a basket of fries, and got caught in a downpour on the way back. Drenched and grinning, we stood under the shop awning, and she kissed me. Hard, like she'd been thinking about it all day. "Took you long enough," I muttered against her lips. She smacked my chest. Asshole. That night, as I lay in bed with Liz curled beside me, her hair still damp from the rain, I realized something. I wasn't just not unhappy anymore. I was happy. Actually, stupidly happy. And Rachel? She'd unfollowed me on Instagram that morning. The Harley became our thing. Every Sunday, Liz and I would take it out. No maps, no plans. Just the open road and whatever diner we stumbled upon by noon. She'd perch on the back, sketching in her notebook while I tinkered with the engine. "You know," she said once, pencil smudging her cheek, "this bike's kinda like you. How's that?" All the good parts were always there, just needed someone to bother looking. I kissed her grease-stained fingers, couldn't even argue. Then winter came. First frost hit, and the shop's heater gave out. I was elbows deep in a timing belt when the bell jingled. Didn't look up till I heard the click of boots I'd know anywhere. Rachel stood in the doorway, Arizona tan faded, holding a Starbucks cup like a peace offering. "Hey, stranger." "Hey." Duke bolted for her like nothing had changed. Traitor. I wiped my hands slow. "What do you want, Rachel?" She bit her lip. That old habit I used to find cute. "I'm in town for Mom's surgery. Thought we could talk." Over my shoulder, the calendar screamed in red ink, Liz's birthday dinner. 7 p.m. "Talk fast," I said. Turns out Phoenix guy dumped her. Turns out she'd been doing a lot of thinking. Turns out she missed me. I let her talk. Watched her twist the ring she'd stopped wearing a year ago. When she finally paused for breath, I said, "You remember what you told me at the courthouse? Enjoy being alone?" Her face crumpled. "I didn't mean—" "Yeah, you did." The clock hit 5:30. "I got somewhere to be." She grabbed my arm. "Is it her?" I peeled her fingers off one by one. "It's me. Finally." Liz was waiting at her apartment when I showed up early, still reeking of gasoline and regret. She took one look at me and said, "She came by, huh?" "How'd—" I just saw a ghost face." She tugged me inside. "Tell me everything." So I did. The Starbucks, the guilt trip, all of it. Liz listened, then handed me a beer. "You know what's sad? She probably really believes she's changed." I frowned. "You're not mad? Should I be?" She straddled my lap, all warmth and vanilla shampoo. "You chose me, again." Her teeth grazed my earlobe. "Now shut up and help me celebrate my birthday." Later, as Liz slept, my phone lit up. "Rachel, you were right. I'm sorry. For all of it." I deleted the message, turned off the phone, watched the snow pile up on the Harley outside, its chrome gleaming under the streetlight. Still running. The shop expansion should have been simple. Knock down the back wall, add 2 more bays, but the city inspector had other ideas. "Your permits are stalled," he said, tapping his clipboard like a judge passing sentence. Zoning changed last month. Liz found me that night elbow deep in a carburetor at 11 p.m. "Babe," she flicked a wrench at me. "You're avoiding." I caught it midair. "We need this expansion. The Harley restorations are booking 6 months out." She straddled the workbench, grease smearing her jeans. "So fight. Call that councilman who owes you for his daughter's free brake job." I blinked. "That's blackmail." "Justice," she corrected, stealing my rag to wipe her hands. "And for the record? Watching you get all righteous is stupid hot." The next morning, I wore my least-stained shirt to City Hall. Councilman Riggs turned white when I slid the invoice across his desk. "Recall that favor?" His signature hit the permit by noon. We celebrated at the shop with cheap champagne and takeout. Liz hung the approved permits on the wall like art. "To not taking shit anymore," she toasted. I clinked her bottle. "To partners who enable my corruption." She kissed me hard enough to taste like soy sauce and victory. Then the door chimed. A guy in a suit stood there, eyes locked on Liz. "Hey, stranger." Her bottle hit the floor. "Ethan." Glass shards glittered between us like a warning. Turns out Ethan was Liz's Phoenix guy, the one who'd ghosted her 2 years ago after she'd miscarried. His words, not hers. She'd never told me. Now he was back, holding divorce papers of his own. "I've done a lot of therapy," he told her while I stood there like a spare tire. "I'd like to try again." Liz laughed, the sharp, dangerous kind I'd only heard once before. The night she'd called Rachel a sun-dried succubus to her face. You're 365 days too late, asshole. Ethan looked at me. This the mechanic? Liz grabbed my hand. This is the love of my life. Walk away before I let him rearrange your face. I flexed on instinct. Ethan left. Later, Liz shook against me in our bed. I should have told you about the baby. I stroked her hair. Your past is yours. She pressed closer. You're my future. Outside, the new shop sign creaked in the wind. Heart and Son Automotive. Liz's idea. The grand opening banners were still wet with paint when the first cop car rolled up. Not for a ribbon cutting, for a citation. Illegal chemical disposal. The officer read off his tablet, eyes darting to the brand new drainage system I'd installed last week. Liz snatched the paper. This is bullshit. We passed inspection yesterday. The cop shrugged. Complaint came in this morning. Anonymous tip. I didn't need to guess. Ethan's parting glare at Liz had promised blood. By noon, the local news vans arrived. Environmental concerns at new auto shop. Liz stood frozen in the doorway, watching our dream turn into a hashtag. I grabbed her shaking hands. We fight. She squeezed back. Damn right. Then her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Still protecting losers, Lizzie? I threw my wrench through the drywall. We dug up Ethan's dirty laundry. Took 3 days and a shady PI friend of my old army buddy. But we struck gold. Photos of him dumping contractor waste into the river behind his McMansion. Liz leaked them to the same reporter who'd smeared us. The headlines flipped by breakfast. Local developer accused of eco-hypocrisy. Ethan's lawyer called before lunch. Drop the charges and we'll forget this ever happened. Liz hung up on him. That night, we sat on the shop roof sharing a stolen street sign, don't ask, and a bottle of cheap whiskey. You know what's funny? Liz kicked her boots against the gutter. I used to think love meant big gestures, diamond rings, sunset proposals. I snorted. And now, she kissed my temple, right over the scar from Rachel's thrown wine glass. Now I know it's showing up with a wrench when their ex tries to burn their life down. The neon open sign flickered below us, casting her face in red and blue. Alive. Mine. The tattoo was a tiny black E+L hidden under Liz's ribcage. I found it when we were changing after a muddy bike ride. She caught me staring and flinched like I'd burned her. Cover-up appointments next week, she said too fast, yanking her shirt down. I caught her wrist. You don't owe me explanations. Her laugh cracked. Then why does it feel like I just got caught cheating? We sat on the garage floor, oil stains seeping into our jeans, while she told me about the miscarriage at 14 weeks. How Ethan had blamed her for not being careful enough. How she'd gotten the tattoo the day before the procedure, some fucked up way of saying goodbye. I pressed my palm over the ink. Want me to go with you? For the cover-up? She leaned into me, her voice raw. I was thinking, maybe we pick something new. Together. The PI called 2 days later. Your ex-wife's been busy. Turns out Rachel had reached out to Ethan, some pathetic enemy of my enemy alliance. They'd met for coffee, exchanged screenshots of Liz's old posts. Nothing illegal, just pathetic. Liz smirked when I told her. So your trainwreck ex and my dumpster fire ex are now besties? Should we send them a couples therapist? But that night, I woke up to her side of the bed empty. Found her sitting on the Harley in the driveway, staring at Rachel's Instagram. She posted a throwback, Liz said quietly. Your wedding day. I took the phone. There I was, 26 years old, grinning like an idiot in a too-tight tux. Rachel had captioned it, When you believed in forever. Liz's hands fisted around the handlebars. Why won't she let you go? I knelt in front of her, the asphalt biting my knees. Because people like her don't know how to love. They only know how to possess. We got the tattoos on a Tuesday. Liz chose a wrench crossed with a paintbrush over her ribs. For us, she said. I got Duke's paw print on my shoulder. No names, no dates. just proof we'd survived. As the needle buzzed, my phone lit up with a notification. Rachel tagged you in a memory. I blocked her mid-zombie apocalypse. The blog post dropped at midnight. My ex-husband's gaslighting empire, by Rachel Hart, complete with cherry-picked texts and a tearful photo at our old lake spot. Liz read it first, her coffee going cold as she slammed my laptop shut. "We're suing." I pried it back open. We burn it down better. At 3 a.m. we drafted a response. Not a defense, a manifesto. Liz's idea. How to survive a narcissist, by someone who fixed their car, with screenshots of Rachel's drunken 2 a.m. texts, the court docs proving she'd perjured herself, and a single unedited voicemail of her calling Duke that mutt. We posted it, then drove to the lake with a can of gasoline. Rachel's blog was trending by noon. Our post had 10K shares by dinner. The PI, who did in fact turn out to be Liz's uncle, leaked Ethan's river dumping footage to the EPA. By week's end, both our exes were radioactive. Liz celebrated by spray painting "Fuck Forever, We're Immortal" on the shop's back wall. I kissed her against the wet paint. The Harley's secret compartment stayed shut until our 1-year anniversary. Liz handed me a crowbar at sunrise. Time to exorcise the last ghost. Inside, Ethan's unsigned divorce papers, a positive pregnancy test, expired, and a receipt for 2 plane tickets to Costa Rica, dated for last year. Liz set the whole pile on fire in our dumpster. "Next time we travel," she said, "we buy the tickets together." I pulled a set of keys from my pocket. About that, the storage unit held a 1972 Chevy Nova, the car my dad promised to restore with me before he died. Liz burst into tears. The shop's expanded again. We added a detailing bay, hired 6 more mechanics. Duke's got a sister now, a 3-legged pit bull named Wrench. Rachel moved to Florida, last we heard. Posts, Oz blessed sunset selfies with a guy who looks like a sentient tanning bed. And the Nova? It's parked next to the Harley in our garage, half restored. We work on it Sundays, Liz's belly round with our daughter, grease smeared on her overalls. Some fires don't destroy, they forge.